Greetings, fellow armchair Imagineers. Tiki here, and welcome to the California Coaster-Thon, a new series in which I review each and every roller coaster that I have ever ridden in preparation for the trip of a lifetime. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. So, first of all, just to kind of do a little bit of housekeeping, I am very sorry that the 1 week that I decided to take off kind of ballooned into 3, and I've really been hit or miss with the videos. I did the Christopher Walken Song of the Day thing as a bit of an experiment. I don't know. I'm probably not going to be doing that daily. Obviously, because I haven't been doing it for a week. Um, I don't know. It was just a fun little idea, but I can totally see where it could get repetitive very quickly and probably alienate some people. So I don't know. If you want to see Christopher Walken Song of the Day, then by all means post in the comments, request it. But if for right now I'm going to kind of lump it in with Hipster Donald's Chronological Quest as just, kind of experimenting, but I don't know, it just doesn't really have a lot to do with anything. Maybe it would be better as a one-off or something like that, but I've definitely been doing some experimenting around with Twitch TV, and I don't know, it's just tricky. It's just kind of getting a hang of the technology and everything like that, but if all goes well, then I definitely do want to start doing some Twitch TV stuff in regards to possibly filming my reactions to things that I watch and, various cartoons and TV shows and what have you. And I was also thinking maybe some RCT3 footage. That's something I've been playing around with for quite a while, but I digress. I digress. Anyways, I've taken a bit of time off since Labor Day, but now I am back, and I am back hopefully on a daily basis for now on, because I definitely do like to, keep the content flowing on here on the So You Want to Be Imagined YouTube channel. But alas, it is a very exciting time for me because I am basically a month away from going on, oh God, probably one of the most anticipated vacations I've ever been on, which is, here's the deal with Magic Mountain. You might have heard me talk about this before, but Magic Mountain's kind of cursed for me, because I went to it the first time on a graduation trip, and it was kind of a stopover on the way to Disneyland. And so literally we got like less than half a day in. I was basically able to ride, Batman the Ride, Riddler's Revenge, and Colossus, and Revolution. I'm pretty sure those were like literally the only 4 rides I got to do. And then the next trip I went on, just due to a whole bunch of unforeseen circumstances, we basically got like 1 day in the park, and let's see, I think that trip we went on even less. We got on Colossus, Riddler's Revenge, Ninja, and Viper. Viper was like the one new thing that I got on. So it's like essentially in 2 trips to Six Flags Magic Mountain, I've not experienced the cream of the crop. I've not experienced Hatsu, not experienced Goliath, mostly due to me kind of being a chicken about heights, which I hope to overcome. I mean, right now I'm definitely having myself up like, oh, the second I get into that park, I'm hitting Goliath. But, hey, God, I don't know. I have a thing with heights, and I'm so used to Discovery Kingdom and their comfortable 150-foot height limit. So, but I've not done Goliath, Tatsu, X2. They put in some new stuff since I've been there, like Green Lantern, of course the YOLO coaster, and Superman. Oh God, Superman's one of those things that I kind of doubt I'm gonna do, just because of kind of the height thing. And that tower is just so, I don't know, I should just go on it. I should force myself to fucking go on it, because it's a one-of-a-kind experience. But point being, this trip that I'm taking to Magic Mountain, October 10th through the 13th, is going to be 3 days. 3 fucking full fucking days at that park, which is something that I have not had the luxury of. In both times I have been to Magic Mountain, I have not had the luxury of time. And the park's open until 1 in the morning, Friday and Saturday, and then 11 on Sunday. So that's a lot of hours. That's a lot of freaking hours to get my fill of this park. Like, hell or high water, I will go on every single roller coaster in that park, barring perhaps Superman, just because of my own height thing, but what have you. I hope that I work up the nerve to get on Superman. I really do. I mean, maybe I should just do fucking Lex Luthor's drop of doom and just get it over with, and then, like, okay, I did that, I can fucking do anything now. But I digress. So, you know, needless to say, I'm stoked about this trip. I'm stoked about the fact that it's 3 full days at that park. Like, oh my god, I really love that park, and I love the history behind it. I think the landscaping and the general upkeep of Magic Mountain is pretty underrated. I mean, it's definitely got a lot of cool things about it that I appreciate. I love the entrance area with the Revolution loop and the fountains and everything like that. I don't even know what the entrance looks like now with with the YOLO coaster loop looming over everything. And I just love the reverence that that park has for the history of their coasters. And, the fact that, like, some of the more tame coasters, the Revolutions, the Ninjas, even the Gold Rushers, they all have really interesting history behind them. So even the tamer coasters are still, like, equally as fascinating and fun to ride as, like, the high octane rides that they have. But anyways, what is the point of this whole rambling rant that I'm going on about Magic Mountain and how excited I am? Well, I'm so excited for this trip, I have decided to review every single last roller coaster that I have ever been on. That's right. I, as a coaster fan, for the first time, tallied my list of quote-unquote credits, if you will. It's a big thing in the coaster community. And wouldn't you know it? Wouldn't you know it? Kevin Smith would be proud, because I have been on 37! Yes, I kid you the fuck not. That's the grand total tally I came up with. 37 roller coasters. I know that's really nothing when it comes to coaster enthusiasts who travel the country and blah, 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 blah. There's a reason why this is called the California Coaster-Thon, because I have literally only been to theme parks in California. I have only traveled to California and Hawaii once when I was little, and Reno a bunch of times, but that's a whole different story. Point being, I've only experienced what California has to offer when it comes to coasters, but I've done a lot of it. I mean, definitely I've been to all the Bay Area parks, including some of the more obscure ones like Bonfante / Gilroy Gardens and whatnot. And I've had my fill. There's certain parks that I've not been to. I've not been to Knott's, for example. You will not see any reviews of Knott's Berry Farms coasters, unfortunately. But, of course, I've been to Disneyland Resort, obviously, California Adventure, and all that good stuff. Discovery Kingdom, of course. Great America, what else? I don't know. Point being, I've hit up a lot of the California, not so much the SoCal parks, but definitely all the NorCal parks. So it'll be kind of interesting to do this and to kind of get my thoughts and feelings on all the roller coasters. And I'm interested to kind of see if I can get a consensus on the best coaster I've ever been on, or maybe the top 10 or something like that. It's interesting. And I know that California doesn't even come close when it comes to some of the excellent coaster offerings that are out there in, places like New Jersey and Ohio. Like the most boring states get the best fucking theme parks because there's nothing better to do, ironically enough. And me as a coaster enthusiast, I'm kind of jealous of that. It's like, no, who needs all these hiking trails and beaches and whatnot? Give me more fucking roller coasters. But we do have Magic Mountain, so, yay for us. So I'm going to be reviewing every single one of these coasters in alphabetical order. Um, I've only got about a month till the trip, so definitely certain days I'm going to be doing 2 videos in a night. Maybe, perhaps I'll combine some of them. Like, I might do both of Bonfante Gardens roller coasters in one video because, frankly, one of their coasters, really, there isn't much to talk about. But, yeah, so that's the general idea. Unfortunately, I wish I could work in pictures and whatnot, but I still have yet to get some decent editing software, and Windows Movie Maker always crashes on my computer, so podcasting it is. Yay for Google Hangouts. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, so first item on my list is Batman the Ride. And I guess before I get started, just one little quick side note. I'm going to be reviewing these coasters as I have personally experienced them, meaning that, that overlays and stuff like that and name changes that have happened since I've ridden them, I'm not going to be reviewing. I'm going to be reviewing the coasters as I have ridden them. So, actually, logically, the first coaster that would be up on an alphabetical order list would be Apocalypse at Six Flags Magic Mountain. But since I've only ridden Apocalypse as Terminator Salvation the Ride, I actually rode that. I believe it was only Terminator Salvation for literally, I think, 1 season, maybe 2 tops. But I did experience the Terminator version of that ride, so in spite of the fact that I'm sure there's not really a whole hell of a lot that's changed besides the pre-show, I'm still kind of anal like that, So I'm going to be reviewing Terminator Salvation the Ride and not Apocalypse. I'm going to be reviewing Mulholland Madness instead of Goofy Sky School, stuff like that. So yes. So the first coaster, as I said, that falls into our Coaster-Thon is Batman the Ride. Batman, oh yeah. And you too can have the chance to get a gravelly voice. Okay, so Batman the Ride. I can't talk about this ride without mentioning how fucking amazing the queue is, and I've gone on about this in other Nuts and Bolts episodes, but yeah, the queue. Now, I'm not sure if the queue is pretty much the same throughout all the Batman the Ride clones, or if there's kind of various degrees of detail and quality depending on the budget and whatnot, but I can definitely tell you the Magic Mountain queue is pretty damn impressive. Like, I think it's honestly up there for me with the Disney queues. It really is. I mean, it's certainly not something like Roger Rabbit's Cartoon Spin or Indiana Jones Adventure, certainly nothing like that. But it's on par with, I don't know, something like, when you think of a queue like the Haunted Mansion, just the outdoor portion with the graveyard and everything like that, and the spooky music and the ambiance, that's kind of more what Batman the Ride sort of leans towards. So, again, it's not anything that takes you into, like, any elaborate show buildings or anything like that, but it's got a great progression to it. So, first of all, I kind of wish that they would have kept the area of the park Gotham City instead of DC Universe. Because, first of all, it's kind of a small area of the park. It's not really a quote-unquote universe. I don't know. It's like, really, couldn't Green Lantern just be visiting Gotham City or some shit like that? I don't know. You have Superman up on Samurai Summit. It's not like Superman's encompassed in this DC universe anyways. Lex Luthor's all the way back in Colossus County Fair. So, that's what I'm saying. It's like, I don't know. But anyways, I'm just saying the whole theme of this ride kind of, I feel, had a better flow to it when the entire area was Gotham City, because it is like way in the back of the Gotham City area. It's really kind of tucked away in like the back far corner of the park. And it would be, and I love the sign. It's just like the Batman symbol the ride. You know, you don't need the word Batman, just the symbol. That's great. Really gets you in the mood. Uh, but the whole queue pretty much takes place in Gotham City Park. And I am very much a fan of the way that when you enter the park, it's very serene, you know, very, like a kind of like a Central Park sort of setting, you know, lots of trees, lots of atmosphere. But then the second half of the queue kind of, you know, you see sort of the more crime-laden aspects of Gotham City. There's a shot-up police car, stuff like that. Things kind of get a little more dirty. You know, so you're basically like progressing into sort of like the slummy part of the park. And it's brilliant the way it does it, because it's Disney level of just like, you know, it's all in the detail. It's all in the slow, gradual transition. And then you go through basically a sewer, you know, like a sewer tunnel, and into the Batcave. And the Batcave reveal is just, it's so cool, because it's like, you know, you see it's a reproduction of the 1989 Batman costume, you know, in a glass case. And then, bam, you're right there, and there's like these floodlights, and the bat symbol is up there, and the, you know, and the Danny Elfman music, it's just pumping out of the speakers, and it's great, man. It really is. It definitely sets the tone incredibly well. The ride itself is just a fucking roller coaster. You know, there's really no theme to it. But what makes Batman the Ride what it is that, you know, is that walk through the park and then into the Batcave, and then it really does feel like something that Disney would do, except for the, you know, of course, the coaster part of it. I mean, I don't know, Disney did California Screamin', but even that's sort of designed to be like a wooden coaster, whereas this is sort of like, oh yeah, there's this park, and then there's this big roller coaster right here, yeah. So it's like, you know, when you're walking through the park, you know, when you're walking through the Gotham Parks part of the queue, you kind of just have to phase out the fact that there's a damn roller coaster right attached to it. The queue for Riddler's Revenge is also very good. You know, it's got, again, sort of like subtle hints of the Riddler's influence. It all takes place in, I believe, this factory or something like that, and sort of like around the factory. But Riddler's Revenge, definitely one that we'll obviously be getting to much later down the line. So let's talk about the actual ride experience of Batman the Ride. I've only done it one time, and to tell you the truth, it's actually the first ride I ever went on at Magic Mountain. So, yeah, props to that, because, you know, I'm a big Batman fan. I mean, I'm not a Batman, you know, I'm not a diehard Batman fan, but I definitely appreciate the character a lot, and just seeing that queue and everything got me hyped up. The ride itself is okay. It's fine. I mean, I think the thing that the ride does best is that it incorporates a ton of intense elements into a very compact, sort of tight coaster. And I think that makes it very appealing for Six Flags to go and clone all over the country, of course. Like I said, I'd be very curious if anyone has any insight onto if, you know, how well they reproduce the queues for these rides. I mean, because I know all the coasters are identical, but, you know, but how are all the queues identical, or do they kind of take on different characteristics? I'm curious about that. So, you know, you go up a lift hill. I believe it's 105 foot. So it's really not anything too intimidating when it comes to height. The first drop is relatively fine, you know. It's but I tell you, the ride really hits you when it comes to the loops and when it comes to the inversions, because basically you're hit with one loop, and then it sends you through like a pretty intense zero-G roll. That's probably the most intense element of the whole thing. And then straight up into another loop. Just, you know, loop zero-G roll loop. And like I say, it's definitely it's intense. That's something that's pretty surprising considering it's not a tall roller coaster at all by the standards of Magic Mountain. But I think just the pacing of it is really what kind of packs the punch. I wasn't expecting that going on. It kind of set the tone for the rest of the park for me. Is that this park in general really, they really care about scaring the shit out of you when it comes to their roller coasters for the most part. And not necessarily just scaring you, but just giving you that good old white knuckle intensity factor. And so let's see, I believe there's two corkscrews, but they're not called corkscrews. They're called wingovers, I think. I'm not sure if there's any difference. Maybe it's just the fact that they're inverted corkscrews. Again, it's all about the speed in which you hit them, and especially because the ride's genius enough to work in like a tiny little helix, and that always gets the speed up. So, you definitely go through these corkscrews very fast. I'd say if there's one complaint about the ride, it's just the fact that you hit all the elements so quickly that it's sort of like, wow, really, that's it? I don't know. I hear some people have been having the same complaint about YOLO Coaster, but I've not been on that yet to compare and contrast and whatnot. But so that's basically it. Again, much, much more memorable when it comes to the queue and the pre-show and the loading area and everything. The ride itself is literally off the shelf because it's been cloned like 8 or 9 times or something like that. But the ride does pack an intensity factor to it, and I can't take that away from it. Gotta love the B&M trains. Same trains that are on Top Gun. As a matter of fact, Top Gun Flight Deck at Great America. I hate calling it Flight Deck, although I'm going to have to review it as Flight Deck, unfortunately, because I never got to ride it as Top Gun. To tell you the truth, I think Top Gun and this are pretty similar, because they're both around the same height. They have the drop, the loop, the zero-G, helix, blah, blah, blah. Top Gun just has a fucking lake that it does the helix around, so that just makes it a little more memorable. I don't know. It makes the ride experience itself more memorable, even though Batman, of course, the queue and pre-show is more memorable than that. So overall, I can't stress enough how much I like the pre-show and how much I like the queue and how much it works and how incredibly good that reveal of the Batcave is. But, it's an off-the-shelf ride, and it's pretty short. Of course, it's not very tall, but that doesn't stop it from being intense. Overall, I don't know. It's a good ride. Like I said, I've only ridden it once, so, like, literally one time. So this is definitely not the coaster that I have the most to say about. I'll talk way more in terms of actual layout and design about stuff like, everything at Discovery Kingdom, for example. But yeah, that's basically it. See, if I were to be reviewing Batman the ride, I would give it 3.5 out of 5 batarangs. Bam, grading scale. Yeah, okay. So next time on the California Coaster-Thon, it's a big one. Like, we're getting a huge milestone out of the way. Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, the wildest ride in the wilderness. Yes, I will be talking all about Big Thunder. Keep in mind, I want to stress that I have not been on it since the big revamp with the, with the explosion effect that may or may not work every time you go on it. So I'll be reviewing it. I'll be reviewing kind of like the, 2006 to 2008 era, which is when I was actively writing it. It definitely has some fun childhood stories about it. I'm sure childhood stories that I've told before, but regardless, I'll tell them again because, honestly, Big Thunder Mountain is probably it's it's huge in my development. It was, it's, yeah, yeah, it's one of the big ones, people. It's one of the big ones right off the bat. So that should be a fun time. I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope you can tolerate the fact that it's just me talking and there's no footage or anything like that. Do the best with what I work with, and hopefully in the future I'll actually get some real editing equipment that I desperately need, and hopefully in the future, like I said, we'll be doing some Twitch TV stuff as well. So until then, I'm Tiki, and taking you through all the roller coasters I've ever ridden, and yeah, I don't have an outro planned. I don't. I'm just reciting the intro again, so shame on me. I'll have an outro plan next time. All right, and I leave you with that. I'm Batman.